Yeah, tell me, before you found less leg more hard, what was life feeling like during your limb loss journey? Maybe tell me a bit about what challenges you were facing, how did you feel, what struggles you came across.
Well, I really didn't have anybody other than myself and my family and my prosthetist and my doctor because I didn't have a clue about any amputee community or anything. And in fact, when I had my first call, I think it was with Tina, um, and she's like, "What do you mean you don't have anybody?" I'm like, "I don't know. I didn't know there was people. I had my leg amputated and went about therapy and went to and from therapy and tried to get back to work and was trying and I was a bartender, so I was on my feet all the time. So that was my goal to get back to that, and then eventually run again. But I had cancer 15 years ago, 16 now, but I didn't get my leg amputated until 4 years ago, actually this month, ironically. So, so the June 16th was my anniversary date. But yeah, I had no idea that there was support out there. I was finding people on Instagram or online that I would see or that would talk to you. Um, if they were real, you didn't know if any what's what out there anymore. So I just did what I did, and I was fairly alone. Yeah, I would think I got invited to come to one what do you call support group within where my process office is at Kinney Orthopedics, but that wasn't until gosh, a year deep or more or longer, and not for any other reason that just I had no idea. And so yeah, and then when I met, I don't even know. I think again I found her online. I saw one of her somehow. It must have been somebody who was connected that I talked to, but somehow her feed came across my Instagram, and there was a Zoom call she was on, and I saw that caught my eye with the less leg more heart, and I was like, oh, what is that? And then I'm like, oh my god, there's people talking to each other. So I actually commented on that post, like, how the heck do I get involved in this? Like, I would love to be something like this. And her and I, that's what it was. That's how it happened. I couldn't remember it for a minute. And then we got on the phone and talked for an hour about everything and anything. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I bet you could end up being somebody who is an advocate for amputees too, eventually, and like a volunteer." So that's on my radar. I just am so busy that I rarely have any extra time. That's why I almost missed this call.
No, but this is, it's a very difficult story being alone with something like this. I cannot even imagine. So I'm glad that came along, right? And we're here to help you. And I'm glad that you got on that call with Tina. Tina is absolutely amazing. So it's really, really great. And you already answered my question how you came across. So let's move on to the next one. So tell me a little bit about how has Less Leg More Heart helped you in your journey. Um, Tell me like a little bit, kind of what kind of support you got. How did it make you feel emotionally? Did it relieve any stress? Did it make your life easier? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, which made my life easier. Truth be told, I went and had my leg amputated on a Thursday. I was very peaceful about it. This was a long time decision coming, but I checked out of the hospital. I had it done Thursday morning, checked out of the hospital Friday, and was at the softball fields with my kids on Saturday because we had a game, a tournament. So I wasn't going to stay in the hospital, and I passed, I essentially had been dragging around a prosthetic internally for years. So I was very able to move and maneuver very well. So they let me out. And looking back, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have, but it's been fine. But uh I don't have anything, what do you want to call it? 80, like, compliant. Like, I have no shower bars. I have no everything's steps. I was in a two-story house. I was doing tricep dips down the stairs to get up and down, and I did not have anything. I think a friend of mine sent me some grabbers so I could get things. I actually still don't have a what do you call it? Shower. I don't have handbars in the shower. And just for whatever lack of resources and lack of having, knowing that I needed those, and maybe because I was also trying to be headstrong that I didn't need them because I could take care of myself. And that was something when I was on the phone with one of my first wellness checks, right? Where they like at 3 months or something, and I met Craig, and he's like, "What do you mean you don't have anything?" And I'm like, "What is that bad?" I'm like, "I don't know," but I did not know what I needed, and I did not know. In fact, got out of the hospital. I didn't have a wheelchair because who the hospital who I got the shower chair and the wheelchair from, somehow they said it'll be there. It never got delivered. And then when, 3 weeks later, when my sister left, is the first time I stopped to think about it because I was on crutches. And that's what I did. I was crutches all the time. So I was used to that and not a wheelchair. So I called them 3 weeks later, they thought somebody filed the case was closed. So I never had a wheelchair or a shower chair. So I'm just standing and crutching all over the place. And then that's how I ended up with suction cup grab bars because I traveled a lot with softball, and Tina got, Craig put that down. No, we're going to put that down. No, you're going to get this. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what is happening? How come I'm getting, like it was unbelievable. And even the towers for your, can't think. Sorry, I get brain farts a lot of menopause brain. Oh my gosh, liners, all the liners, like when I was going somewhere or whatever, or there was I was using a wine bottle, a giant thing, whatever would, I could fit it on and fit it over to dry. And then so I got those. I didn't even know those existed. I mean, I just don't know. I felt uneducated, and I felt, so I just did what I did and kept moving forward and didn't think there was a thing. I just thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. I had no clue that there was support like that, um, without knowing. So those wellness checks, I also didn't know that I needed them emotionally. When I get a Craig, he was always so nice because my schedule was crazy, and um, trying to connect with me. And we talked a good couple of times and actually became friends. And then there was another girl who now I'm friends with too. It's just they've just been amazing. But you don't know what you're missing, I guess. So it was, I think I cried once because he's like, "How are you doing emotionally though?" I'm like, "I mean, I'm great. I'm fine." He's like, "Mm-hmm." I'm like, "No, I am." Oh, sorry, Lindsay. Very positive and upbeat person. So I choose to look at only the good, or try to, because if you focus on the bad, then you go there. So I just try to continuously focus forward, and sometimes to my own detriment that I don't slow down, to take care of things or find ways to take care of it. So it was a very unique community that became family, and just that kind of support. Like I said, I didn't know I needed because I'm not surrounded by any amputees really until y'all. And then I started connecting to um, other people within my, town because it was, 30, 40-minute trips for me everywhere to get my leg. And then I was flown down to Orlando from another organization, 50 Legs, when I was straight out of my leg. I had a really bad experience coming right out of the chute. So my leg socket wasn't fitting. And then the guy up and left, and I had an appointment and didn't know where the guy went. And it was one of those crazy things. So I don't know. It was just, I'm like, this cannot be it. Like there's no way this is it. And like I said, and that was about the time that the the little Zoom popped across there. I always believe in, you know, God winks, angels. My mom passed away 20 years ago last month. And I always feel like some ways I get connected with Tina and Les Leg because of that, or at the right time. So sorry.
Yeah, I'm
from
glad it came at the right time. And I could see from your emails and communications that you're very upbeat, and that's probably the only way to get through and just keep moving, right? Like with everything in life. But I'm glad that Tina came right at the right time, right? Right when the hope leaves you, there is always. My grandma used to say, "Look for good people. They are around." So I'm glad you found good people right at the right time.
I love that.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. So tell me, how would you describe Les Lagmore Heart to another amputee? What makes this organization maybe different? How would you explain the feeling of being supported by Les Lag? Why would you encourage another amputee to reach out?
Well, it's a good one. So I love I loved 50 Legs that, it was, but it's very different. 50 Legs was, okay, we're going to help you get a leg, or go down, you fly you down to Orlando, but you have to be there for 2 weeks and you do all the training, all the fitting, all the things there, which was amazing at the time because I couldn't even walk without a walker. And I left there walking without a walker. So it was exactly where I needed to be. But it wasn't until I think it was right after that when I found um, Les Langmore Hart, and the difference was they didn't have the. I was blown away by Leslie because there was Tina, there was the head of the organization, and then there was okay. Now we're going to put you in touch with Craig, and there's going to be a 3 month, a 6 month, a 12 month, and then a follow up, and then I don't know how long it's been since I first started. I'm sure it's somewhere in a chart, but the fact that I'm still getting and people are still in touch with me to check on me, and all of the what's the other stuff, not saying anything bad by any means because I got a leg out of that and got fitted in a socket and all of that, and those people are incredible, but just very different where it's a almost like a lot more like you're being cared for by a doctor, a nurse, you know what I mean, like something that you can count on, that you're going to get that. And I didn't know that that was even a thing. So two very different organizations, and Leslie was just so much more in depth, I guess, and um just I don't know. You just you knew there were things in place you were going to have, because what's scary is when you're alone is I when I left that POA down in Orlando, I'm like I'm gonna cry because now I'm going to be alone again. Does that make sense? I was like, oh, and they're like, oh, we're just a phone call away. I'm like, but you're in Florida and I'm in Indiana. And the reality is I can't take 2 weeks out of life and leave my family and kids and go down there again. I'd love to. Had a blast, but it's not sustainable, to do that all the time. So it's just different. And then you feel like those people are there for you, but it's not the same as having something consistently far out reaching out to you. And also the mental health part of it um, is very different from having, doing the physical work. The mental health checks were the big thing for me because I didn't realize how many, like how hard it is, on a lot of people, because mine was more of a choice after a long time. I was prepared to lose my leg 16 years ago, and by the time I did it, I'm ready to do it. So everybody's story is very different, but the mental health part of it, the people checking up on you, taking the time to do the evaluation, the questions, the on a scale of 1 to 10, is this, that, and the other, and then to be able to go over that in 6 months, like with your person, whoever you're talking to, and I'm like, oh, I said that. I'm like, oh, was I having a bad day? Like I don't, you just are able to talk through that and or figure out like, because they would say like, your answers are very different, what's going on or from the last time and stuff. So I just thought that that was amazing because you your doctors are so too busy. Everybody's so busy. Nobody has a lot of time to do that let alone a memory to remember anything, right? I can't remember why I came out here half the time. It's like you're going 100 miles an hour. I got two kids, 12 and 14, and working, and I'm coaching softball for four teams, and I'm grateful I can do all these things. But your head spins. So to be able to have somebody who has all of your stuff, and then they take the time to do that, and even if you forget it's coming, you're here. So I think it's pretty awesome compared to what else I've experienced.
Right. And I'm sorry, Kat, I keep myself on mute just because I don't want to interrupt the
Mhm.
flow, but it's just so inspiring to hear how much you do in having the kids. I can only imagine how hard you make it sound so easy, but I can only imagine, how hard it is. And especially with the teenagers, I have two kids of my own, so it's not easy under any circumstances, and especially something like that. So thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. So tell me maybe a little bit about if you could speak directly to the donors and supporters and sponsors who make this work possible, what would you want to tell them? What would you want them to know? What would you want to tell them maybe?
Um, Thank you. They so originally when I think Tina also, in addition to the other many little things, got me sorry. She got me a runner's blade and I haven't run in 16 years. And I was a runner. So when when I chose to do this, I'm like, I'm gonna run again, damn it, but you don't know how you're gonna do it. Like I don't know my body anymore. And she just was like, we'll get you one. I'm like, what are you talking about? And that I was like, this, it's all I want to do. And it showed up in the mail, this blade, was nothing. Like it was nothing. And um I couldn't believe it. Like I don't know. It's unbelievable. I still have yet to run in it. I probably have had it for a year, but I've worn it a ton. I've walked in it. I actually walked a 5K in it. That was rough. I hate walking. Like I shouldn't say that. I love walking. I don't prefer to walk. I was a runner, and if I'm doing a 5K is pretty hard. I didn't expect it to be that hard. I also didn't train for it either. But I walk probably 12 to 13, 14, 15,000 steps a day at my job. I'm a service manager for Bex, and we're just constantly moving. So, which I love that I can do that and all the things, and I'm walking great. But I've done three 5Ks now. I've come in dead last three times, and I hate that because I'm competitive by nature. I was an athlete, a college athlete, played softball. That's what I coach my kids in softball, girls softball. So it's hard not to be able to run across the field when I'm used to. It's hard not to be able to show them what I can do, but I still show up and do what I can and throw and catch and all the things. And I usually make them laugh because now in the outfield I'll walk and throw my glove in the air to try to catch a ball because I can't get there in time. And that is a goal. Like, how do I get this blade to be able to go through the grass without falling? But fear of falling is real when you're an amputee. And last year I tore my shoulder off the hinges. I was hog tied to my left side for 6 months out of the year with a shoulder sling. I had to get a peg built, like a pilot peg, with a flat pad on the foot, and was literally like pegging around. But the good news is now I use that instead of a walker. So maybe there's a reason I tore my shoulder up, so I could find a way to get around better. So I haven't used a walker since then, which is awesome. Um, I still have it though. But anyway, back to this point of the story was that's why I think I say thank you because I don't could not have afforded that. You feel, I already got my one gift for the socket and the leg when I went down there, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna wear anybody. You don't think it's possible. You don't think you'll be able to get something, and it's wildly unfair that we have to fight that hard to get a leg that everybody else has. Nobody tells you to go get an organization to support you, and because you can walk down the street with your two healthy legs. If you want to run, you just go train on the treadmill or outside. You can do it. Well, we can't, without special things like the blade and stuff. So you just never think you're going to get them, and a lot of people don't, and a lot of people don't know that you can ask or fight for it or advocate for yourself. Like not everybody's crazy enough like me to be like, there has to be more. Like, ugh, like I cannot. I'm not going to live without. But it's insane to me how much money it costs and how you're denied and how you. Um, if there wasn't for these organizations, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have a. I finally this year have a second socket that still kind of fits. I'm on my seventh socket. I was blowing through sockets because my volume was changing so much. So paying so much money for just a socket, it's crazy. But I finally have the blade attached to it now because that's my goal this year is to have two legs and just be able to put it on, take it off. And one of the amputee clinics that I got involved with is going to put me in a harness and have me try to use it this year. So that's the goal. It's already June though.
That's
But that's
wonderful.
why. That's what I think it's so important, and it's such a gift to have that because I wouldn't, I wouldn't have that. That
That's wonderful, and I hope you will run, and you will get there. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you have it. So, uh, I would love to hear from you when you do that. So I think it will be
Yeah.
great. I'm not a runner myself, but I have some runners in the family, and I know how much it means when you cannot do it and when you can do it. So I
Mhm.
hope you will.
Thank you.
So, Carol, I will ask you last question. I think Zoom calls are usually 40 minutes and they will interrupt us. So if they interrupt us before I get a chance, thank you so much for sharing your story and for being so sincere and so open with it. And I only have one last question for you. What would you say to another amputee who feels alone right now?
Um, you can call me. um, just reach out. I mean, one thing I always tell my kids, I'm like, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Like put yourself out there. Don't be shy. Every one of us is nuts and funny. Like the small group since Less Like More Heart, and which made me reach out to other people because I didn't think I needed it. I didn't know how much I needed it until Less Like More Heart and those conversations and phone calls. And that's what made me reach out and find people here. And even though, they're 40 miles away, that's one of the 5Ks I did was with our Amp Nation, I think it is. And now there's a step club, and now I'm part of a number two walker for the above the knee amputees in Indianapolis, and we do that. We already signed up for the Heart Walk again for this year, and we have a huge group, and some of them are more advanced, like I am, and now I'm invited to an amputee walking school, to come be a person to help other people walk. Just you just don't know what you need, and it really is a gift to have other people that know what you're going through. Even your process. My process is a great guy, but sometimes he's like, you just step off the curb. Just get the heel on and just step off. I'm like, you step off. I'm like, you take your leg off and then step off a curb with something that's not yours, and it's just different. And so people who get you and they understand it, and even though you think I am wildly convinced that I'm not disabled, but it's just we make a joke and call me Handy Cat. But I have all the funny T-shirts and I do all the stuff. I make everything. I try to make it all fun. Because if you're not having fun, you get down in the dumps. But I would just say don't stay alone. Call call somebody, but just find a group, find anybody. You really have no idea what you're missing until you find it. So
Thank you so much, Kat. I know we're gonna get interrupted in a couple of minutes, so thank you. I really, really appreciate it. I think your story will be really inspirational for others. So thank you for your time, and I hope you continue. I know you will continue to coach, and I hope you will run one day. And your attitude is amazing. So keep it up, keep it up, keep it going.
it was really nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Very nice to meet you. Have a good night.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Bye bye.